Kyle Richards doesn't trust Sutton Stracke after infidelity comment. If there's one thing we can always count on from Sutton Stracke, it's that she will take it there. And she did just that in the latest episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. This time, it was Kyle Richards who was caught off guard when Sutton claimed there was infidelity in her marriage to Mauricio Umansky. However, despite the bold accusation, Kyle vehemently denied that Mauricio was unfaithful to her. The awkward moment occurred when Kyle spent a day out with Sutton and Garcelle Beauvais, and now she has lost all trust in her friend. The cast had plenty to say when they dished about the episode on the after show. Kyle said Sutton later apologized for her words, claiming it was an accident, but the brunette beauty isn't buying it. Is the OG ready to take another friendship break from the Southern Belle? Kyle Richards says trust is broken after Sutton Stracke's infidelity claim. Kyle joined Erica Jane to discuss the episode, and let's say the OG is not very happy with Sutton after what she said. Later she said to me, "I don't know why I said that. I got so confused," shared Kyle, adding, "Do I believe that was an actual accident? Absolutely not." The mom of four said she thought they were good friends and were trying to mend things after their fallout in season 13. However, after Sutton's latest snafu, Kyle admitted, "I'm not feeling I can really trust you at all. I see you and I will never forget," added the 56-year-old. Erica also commented on the duo's ongoing drama, telling Kyle, "I think it's a one-way friendship." Sutton explains herself on the RHOBH after show. Sutton also opened up about the tense moment between her and Kyle during the RHOBH after show. She claimed her controversial comment was about Kyle's admission that Mauricio had conversations with women who slid into his DMs. "I remember we had talked about how it is infidelity when you text someone on Instagram," Sutton explained. Sutton isn't the only one who assumed Mauricio was unfaithful to Kyle before their separation. During the season 13 reunion, the OG hinted at something Mauricio did during their marriage that broke her trust, which she could never regain. She never got into any details about that, but the first thing we all thought was infidelity, and the ongoing rumors over the years certainly didn't help. Kyle Richards sat in the plush living room of her Beverly Hills home, the glow of the chandelier casting a warm light on her impeccably curated decor. But her mood was anything but warm. Her brow furrowed, lips pressed into a thin line, and her fingers tapped rhythmically against the armrest of her chair. The reason for her unease? Sutton Stracke. The women of Beverly Hills had just returned from a dramatic trip to Aspen, where emotions had run as high as the altitude. Over glasses of chilled champagne, Sutton had made a comment that left Kyle reeling. It wasn't just the words themselves, but the way they sliced through the air, sharp and deliberate. Infidelity doesn't always start in the bedroom, Kyle. Sometimes it's in the heart. Kyle couldn't shake it. The remark was seemingly innocent, cloaked in Southern charm. But to Kyle, it felt loaded. It was no secret that her marriage to Mauricio Umansky had been under scrutiny. Gossip columns were rife with speculation, alleging cracks in their picture-perfect life. Kyle had brushed it off publicly, but Sutton's comment felt like a direct hit to the most vulnerable part of her world. Kyle's phone buzzed on the marble coffee table, breaking her train of thought. It was a text from Dorrit Kemsley. "Dorrit, lunch tomorrow? We need to talk about Sutton. XO." Kyle sighed, typing a quick reply. "Absolutely. Noon at Villa Blanca." The next day, Kyle arrived at the trendy restaurant, her oversized sunglasses shielding her from curious onlookers. Dorrit was already seated, her perfectly coiffed hair glinting in the sunlight. "Darling, you look stressed," Dorrit said as Kyle slid into the seat opposite her. "I am stressed," Kyle admitted, removing her sunglasses. "I can't stop thinking about what Sutton said in Aspen. It felt calculated." Dorrit tilted her head, a knowing look in her eyes. "Sutton has a way of saying things that stick with you." "But why do you think she said it?" Kyle hesitated. "I don't know, but it felt personal, Dorrit, like she was hinting at something." "You mean about you and Mauricio?" Dorrit's voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper. Kyle nodded. "She knows how much those rumors hurt me. Why would she bring it up?" Dorrit sipped her iced tea, considering her words carefully. Maybe it wasn't about you. Sutton, well, she's been through her own stuff. Divorce, heartbreak. Sometimes people project. Kyle wanted to believe that, but a part of her couldn't. She'd always prided herself on being a good judge of character, and something about Sutton lately felt off. There was an edge to her, a sharpness that hadn't been there before. Later that evening, Kyle decided to confront Sutton directly. She invited her over under the guise of a casual girls' night. Sutton arrived, carrying a bottle of Pinot Noir and a bag of her favorite macarons. "Kyle, darling, your home looks as fabulous as ever," Sutton drawled as she stepped inside, her heels clicking against the polished floor. Kyle forced a smile. "Thanks, Sutton. Make yourself comfortable." As they settled in the living room, Kyle wasted no time. "I wanted to talk to you about Aspen." Sutton's perfectly groomed eyebrows lifted. "Oh, what about it?" Kyle took a deep breath. "Your comment about infidelity. It felt pointed, like it was aimed at me." Sutton's expression remained neutral, but her eyes betrayed a flicker of surprise. "Kyle, I'd never." "Wouldn't you?" Kyle pressed. "Because that's how it felt. And if there's something you're trying to say, I'd rather you just say it." Sutton set her wine glass down, the clink sounding louder than it was. "I wasn't talking about you specifically, Kyle, but if the shoe fits." Kyle's jaw tightened. "So you were." "No, I wasn't," Sutton said firmly, her southern lilt softening the blow. "But Kyle, you have to admit, there's been a lot of talk, and where there's smoke, there's usually fire." Kyle stared at her, a mix of disbelief and anger bubbling inside her. "You know how much Mauricio and I have been through. I thought you, of all people, would understand." Sutton's eyes softened. "I do understand, Kyle. But sometimes people don't talk about things because they're afraid. And maybe it's time you stopped being afraid." The words hung in the air, heavy with implication. Kyle's mind raced. Was Sutton trying to help her? Or was she enjoying the power of planting seeds of doubt? After Sutton left, Kyle sat alone, staring at the now empty wine glass. Her trust in Sutton had been fractured, and she wasn't sure it could be repaired. In the world of Beverly Hills, trust was a fragile currency, and Kyle was beginning to feel like she was running out. The next morning, Kyle called Lisa Rinna. If anyone could help her navigate this mess, it was Rinna. Known for her unfiltered opinions and knack for drama, Rinna would surely have thoughts. "Honey, what did I tell you about Sutton?" Rinna said when Kyle recounted the conversation. "She's like a cat playing with a mouse. She'll bat you around until she's bored and then walk away like nothing happened." Kyle sighed. "I don't want to believe that, Rinna. I thought we were friends." "Oh, you were friends," Rinna said with a knowing laugh. "Until you weren't useful anymore. Mark my words, Kyle. Sutton doesn't do anything without a reason." Kyle hung up feeling more conflicted than ever. She wanted to give Sutton the benefit of the doubt, but her instincts told her otherwise. As she stood in her kitchen, watching the morning sunlight spill across the marble countertops, she made a decision. Trust wasn't something she could afford to give away freely anymore. And Sutton, well, Sutton would have to earn it back, if that was even possible.